this guy I didn't say anything about last time because I hadn't started it. I knit it in like 2 weeks. It was a birthday cast on. Hello, I'm Emma Martin, and this is my second podcast episode. I am and run Granola Gear, which is all about fiber arts, knitting, crocheting, upcycling, all that kind of fun stuff. And I started this a little more than a month ago. I'm a little late because I thought it would be fun to do a podcast episode for myself and for the people who like seeing what I'm doing. And it's been super eye-opening because I didn't realize until doing the first one how much stuff I actually get done in a month, or at least how much I had been getting done recently, because there was no real benchmark. It was just kept making stuff, kept pumping things out, and didn't have like oh, this is when I started this is when I finished this is how long it took me. But since then I've been like, wow, I've done a lot since the first one. So we're gonna do finished objects, works in progresses, acquisitions, and then just some others. So the first thing I finished that I'm very excited about is the shorts #1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. They don't look amazing right now because I have worn them a few times, but they're all done, they're blocked, they've got the elastic in there, and they match my Cami No. 6. I actually haven't worn these together yet, but I've worn them both separately. They're super cute, they're super fun, super versatile. So these were bottom up construction, which was a little weird because I had made another pair of shorts before, the Demia shorts, sporty shorts, and those were top down, which made more sense to me, but it was fine. It's just kind of boring to knit shorts, I feel like, because once you get to like the hips, butt area, it's a lot of big working around. And because I used an all cotton, oh, that's the other thing, I used I Love Cotton in just this, I think it was called French lilac purple color. But yeah, it was pretty quick, pretty fun. They're super comfy, really like it. I think these are great for like any inexpensive worsted cotton. If I make them again, I'll probably use some kind of merino blend because I think they'd block out a little nicer, but these are still nice. My short rows aren't amazing. You can probably see that there's a little weirdness. They're not perfect, but honestly, you can't really tell wearing them. These look a bit pilly just because of sitting on them, but you know, I'm pretty happy with them. I think they're cute. I think they're wearable. They look really huge up against my body, but they really, they don't look that big when I'm wearing them. I guess you don't really realize how big of a pair of shorts you actually need to fit around your hips and everything until you actually see them. Like halfway, like folded, they look pretty normal. But yeah, I'm pretty psyched about how those turned out. I'll probably make them again at some point, but probably not till like next year. But I did enjoy the pattern. I like the wide ribbing because 2x2 ribbing is just not fun for me to knit. It's just too small, but it's not like when you have 1x1 rib, it's just sort of like a rocking back and forth. And it's not as annoying for me. 2x2 for whatever reason, just as much as I love the look, not fun. So my second finished object is the Kuntum Socks from the 52 Weeks of Socks. I have found that I really like lace socks. I have a feeling most of the socks I'll make out of the 52 Weeks of Socks book are lace socks because look at that, so cute. I should show you the whole thing. It's like ribbed in the back here, all along the back, and then there's like kind of a little bit along the side, and then the whole lace panel that doesn't like repeat down the front. I think this is the best way to show them, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I love how these turned out. They're super pretty. Both done, both blocked. These are actually my size, so I won't have to gift them. But I really enjoy lace socks because it's just like a series of decreases and yarn overs that make it, and it kind of unfolds, and it's really fun. And this has got this nice little cable running down the whole middle. These, because of the style of lace design, like it's one whole thing, the pattern wasn't like a knit until you have 2 inches left of your foot kind of thing. It was just like, do this and then work the toe. So I ended up making it a little shorter in a few places because they seemed like they were going to be really long and big for my foot. And I knew blocking would let them relax a little bit too, so I didn't want them to be huge, but it didn't really change the look. I think there was supposed to be like one more little cable bit at the end here, and I just kind of cut it off, which I think still looks fine. But yeah, I'm really happy with these Kuntum Socks. Big fun. My most recent finished pair of socks. I think that brings me to 4 pairs of socks that I've knit, which is pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Definitely a fan of the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I think they're coming out with a second book, and I'll probably get that because I like the variety, and it's nice to not have to like finding socks on Ravelry for whatever reason is like, I don't know, not as much fun as like looking for other things. It's just the whole experience is not, I don't know. I always kind of, when I'm looking at socks on Ravelry, I'm like, I don't really want to pay for this. But when I'm buying like a nice big book, it's like, oh, I'm getting 52 patterns for like $25 or whatever. So it feels more worth it. Yeah. So next finished object. I don't know, this isn't technically really a finished object, but it's as finished as it's going to be it for right now. And that's the zipper sweater man for my husband. It's all, the body's done, sleeves are done, collar's done. The only thing that's not done is the zipper part. And that's because I don't have a zipper yet and I don't really need to finish it right now. I mean, considering we're in Los Angeles, it's not an immediate thing that needs to be done because it's still pretty toasty here. We just had a heat wave. I hear a plane, and I learned last time that you can totally hear the plane in the video, and we're in a flight path. So my apologies if any other planes go by. It just is what it is. Not a whole lot I can do about it. At least the construction stopped. I've been wanting to film this video for a while, but we had a heat wave and we don't have AC, so it was way too hot in here to film. And then there's construction, and then I started a new job, and it's just been crazy. But so, yeah, this is pretty much done. Psyched about it. Oh, also forgot to mention the yarn, and this was just a random wool that I had. I have no idea what it was. Yeah, I used the Woolies, Lion Brand Woolies for this. I have so much left over because I realized, I think I said like a while ago or last time that I had originally planned to knit the Denali sweater. That was a lie. I originally planned to knit a crochet cabled sweater, and this was like 2 years ago in the wintertime. Bought the yarn with the correct yardage for that sweater then. It was mostly in like single crochet and it was kind of a nightmare, so I didn't end up doing it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna knit something because I had started knitting more. And then I got through like half that sweater and it was kind of all wrong, and like it was taking forever, so I just gave up on it. And then I started knitting this sweater. So there's been 3 iterations of this, and because of that, I have actually quite a bit of yarn left over that I never want to see again. And I usually use scraps, but I'll hold on to it for a little while. I don't really know if there's anything I'm going to make with this kind of yarn. Maybe a hat or something, but it's largely acrylic, so I don't think it would be very cute for like a blanket or anything, but we'll see. I don't know, but this guy's pretty much done, which is sweet. I like it. Turned out pretty nice, pretty simple, fast, easy. My next thing is a design that I've been working on a pattern for, and this is a cardigan, but I have not gotten buttons for it because there's nowhere for me to get buttons around here, and I haven't ordered any. But it's this like lacy cotton cardigan with a collar. I'm trying to see if I can show you well. But in the back, we've got these kind of like flowery holes, and then there's a strip of them down the front as well by the button band. I actually used 2 different weights of yarn for this. There's a lot going on here that I kind of like makes me want to do it one more time. Just try and get it right, even though this was the final draft. I realized between my initial draft of this and this one, I accidentally used a smaller hook on this one. I can't remember what the hook difference was. It was like a G instead of an H. G. Yeah, something like that. And it's a little smaller than I intended it to be, but it doesn't fit super poorly or anything. It's just, I wanted it to be a little boxier. And because I bought this yarn and I didn't want to buy a ton of it, I used the leftover from the shorts number 1 and Cami number 6 for the trim, which doing that, like this, it was a nightmare kind of, but it's also a little bit heavier weight. So it looks like the sleeves kind of flare out a little bit at the end, which was not the intention, but it just kind of was what it was. And I tried to fix it with blocking, but cotton is a little hard, especially because I wasn't pinning it because I don't have foam mats, or well, I have pins, but I don't have foam mats to pin anything to at the moment. So I might make another one. I like how this looks and I like the pattern, but I don't know. I don't know if I should wait till next spring, summer to write it because, and like, well, it's pretty much written, but to grade it and to test it because everywhere else it's getting cooler and I don't know if this is exactly what people are looking for right now, especially because I think this would also be really nice as a t-shirt cut. And I don't think anyone's going to want to test that right now. But so this might get held off like other things have in the past for now. But I'm a big fan. Super pretty. Used the I Love Cotton and Sugar Wheel Cotton for this. This was actually one of my acquisitions. I tend to use my acquisitions right away. So I don't really have like a lot to show usually because I'm not like a buying for fun kind of person. There's another airplane. But yeah. So then this is a little side project that I whipped up because I was feeling something small, and this is another design that I'm working on that I kind of need to make one more iteration of. I have 2 right now. This is the first one. It's a little kerchief situation. This one's kind of small, but I had this alpaca yarn that was probably like a sport DK kind of weight. And this was all I had, and I had thrifted it, so I was not getting more, so it's not super big. But yeah, look at that. Tilted to the side, probably looks a little silly that it totally came undone. Why all the airplanes today? Oh my gosh. But so this is linen stitch with some holes in it. The one thing I'm trying to figure out is how to make this kind of less curvy at the top. But I don't know, I'm working on it. I'll finish it at some point. It just hasn't, it was like, I was really into it for a minute and now it's like off to the side a bit. And then I have a second iteration of that I was using scrap yarns for, because the scraps from this blanket are the scraps that will never die. I have made placemats. I like made an extra huge border on this. I also made an extra row of octagons. I made this, and I still have a ton more. It's just never gonna end. Yeah, but I was starting to run out of yarn that I had enough of for this part that all matched together. So then I did this stripey thing, which looks okay, but it's acrylic, so it's kind of not like, it's not super cute, but like maybe you could, it's a little crazy, but maybe you could tie it to like a bag or something and it would be cute. That's my thought. I'm not really sure, but I like the colors. Again, linen stitch holes, but kind of a work in progress pattern sort of situation. This guy I didn't show last time because he wasn't really like an active work in progress. This sweater is a design that I designed last, what was it? Spring? Yeah, it was springtime, which is why I didn't really like finish it and push it and test it and stuff, because I was like, we're going into summertime. No one's gonna want like a turtleneck wool sweater right now. What I had done is I had one, not made the body quite long enough, and 2, I messed up one of the sleeves. Like I accidentally made one of them longer than the other. So I finally went back and fixed it. It didn't take me that long. This looks really small, but it stretches a ton because it's all 1x1 ribbing with cables. And I'm obsessed. But like now that it's been a while, there are kind of a few tweaks I think I would make. But I don't know if I want to like make it again or just like be happy with this, because I still think this is really cute. It's also going to be a nightmare to grade, so that's why I've sort of been procrastinating. I've got it started, it's just like a lot. But it's so cute and I love it so much. I think it would be really pretty in like a cream color. this was Cascade wool. Like, it's just a worsted, one of their worsted weight wools. What had happened was I had this like blue skein that I thrifted, and I was like, oh, I'll find one that matches it and I'll do something with both of them. So I bought one of this skein, and then I had an idea and I was like, don't want to make it in that blue, do want to make it in this pink, I think. Well, I already have the pink, so I kind of gotta go with it. So then I got a couple more and just made this. But yeah, we're working on this. It's finished technically. I think I have like one end to weave in, but it's on its way to being a pattern. It doesn't have a name yet. So then this last finished object, which is inside out at the moment because I was starting to weave in ends. This guy I didn't say anything about last time because I hadn't started it. I knit it in like 2 weeks. It was a birthday cast on. So I, on my birthday, went to Goodwill and bought 2 sweaters, and I unraveled them, and I was like, this would be really great for this sweater that I want to knit. And then I knit the entire Ingrid Sweater. Yay! I had talked in my last video about like ordering yarn for this, and I am gonna order yarn to make one of these. Get there. So I was looking at the pattern on Ravelry, and I was like, okay, because she lists these like yarn options, but like they're way too expensive for me. Like, I can't afford it all. I'm knitting for Oslo Sweater at the moment. But I was like, on Ravelry it says it's worsted weight. These 2 yarns were, they're neither of them are 100% natural fiber. They're both partially like acrylic, but I really liked how they looked. They were nice. They were at least like a portion wool or mohair. This guy is like a single ply, kind of DK-ish looking. This guy's kind of like a heavy fuzzy-ish sort of situation. So it's sort of like holding a wool and a mohair. Not really at all, but kind of. And I really liked I did the swatch. I liked the marled look together. I thought it was really pretty. And my gauge was a little big, and I'm kind of weirdly like in between sizes for petite knit. Like, my bust measurement is like, she does like from this number to this number for her sizes, and then the next one is like from this number to this number, but like those 2 numbers in between, the like up to and the starting at, are the same for both those sizes, and I like am that number. And I usually make the larger size because it's the size I'm usually a small or a medium, but in her sizing, for some reason, I'm usually between the extra small and the small, which is like kind of small for me. But I was like, okay, gauge is a little big. I don't want to go down a needle size because I feel like this would make it too tight for this yarn. So I'm just going to make the smaller size and it'll be fine. Because the small size already, like, I'm usually like more of a medium anyways. And then this guy knit up really quick. Super huge. So big. Like, this neck, the only reason this neck like looks kind of normal when I put it on is because I decreased a ton of stitches on the second part, because the first time I made it was like flopping everywhere because it was huge, and I used all the like correct needle sizes and all that, but like the whole body is big and the arms are like huge on me, not lengthwise, just like widthwise, and this hasn't been blocked at all, so it's going to loosen out more and be even bigger. And it's like a beautiful sweater, and I like oversized things, but this is just like, it's not like oversized, it's like doesn't fit. And this is something that's so beautiful that you don't, like, if it were a basic sweater, it were really big, or like a sweatshirt, regular sweatshirt, I'd be like, this is fine. But for like a nice, beautiful sweater that you kind of want to be like a nice looking thing, I wanted it to fit better than this. So I was kind of sad about that, but honestly, it's probably gonna go to my mom. She's just enough bigger than me that I think it'll fit her like nice and like appropriately oversized. But this was so much fun. I'm totally gonna knit it again. But I clearly need a smaller yarn. I'm just kind of confused. I posted about this on my Instagram, but it says on the Ravelry page worsted, and then I was looking at people's projects, and a lot of people, the people who were using drops were all using drops Lima, which is a DK weight, and they didn't seem to be holding anything with it. So like, is this knit with a DK yarn? I'm confused because it says worsted, and she used like her examples are DK yarns held with like a lace weight mohair, which you would think would kind of be like a light worsted or worsted. So I'm kind of confused about why this was like maybe an Aran, not like a bulky weight, like it's not that heavy. I just do not understand why it came out so big, because my gauge was not that off. It was off by like a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'll size down. That should be enough of a whatever to make up for it. And yet it's like huge. I don't know if the original sweater was just more oversized than I realized, but she, like Petite Knit Medi, I think her name is a pretty small lady, and the sweater doesn't look that huge on her. And I'm guessing she makes like a smaller and extra small. I don't know. I just don't understand why mine came out so big. I haven't really figured it out. Because I even swatched and everything. I don't know, I swatched. And I swatched in pattern too. Like I tried each one. But yeah, it looks like this is going to be a gift, which tends to be how my things end up as gifts, is I make them the wrong size for myself and then give them to someone, which I'm kind of okay with. I was knitting this and I was thinking my mom would really like this as I was knitting it, and thinking about if I made another one, it would probably be her. So maybe you should just get this one. But yeah, this was like a major game of yarn chicken too, because I did absolutely no math to figure out if I had enough yarn. I just unraveled the sweaters and went straight into making this one, and I was like, it'll be fine. And at the end I got super nervous and I was thinking about alternative ways to do it, but it ended up being perfect. I have more left of this dark pink than this is all I have left of the light pink. This is what I have left of the dark pink. And then a little bit from redoing the collar. Like if I redid the sleeves and stuff to make them a little bit smaller, at least the cuffs, I'd have more left over. It's really because it was so big. Both the sweaters that I unraveled, I think were smalls or mediums, but they were just like big, oversized, whatever. Like they were like weird hoodie-ish things. I have a reel that has videos of both of them. I just haven't posted it because I wanted to do the finished product in part of it. But yeah, so I was like, there should be enough, and I was right, but it was definitely close. But yeah, there's the Ingrid sweater, an unexpected finished object for this month that I never showed as a work in progress. But now, sorry for the airplane again, if you can hear it. Now the next thing that is a work in progress, yes, we're on to work in progresses now, is another 52 weeks of sock. I have one finished and I have one on the needles. This is the Vervain sock. Also a lace sock. This guy, kind of put it on my hands so that I can show. It's all stockinette except for this lace panel that is oriented on just one side. Like this is the center of the sock and the lace panel is over here, so that when you have them on, you've got them like facing, they're both on one side of your foot. This is the other one that I've started. I have a bunch more yarns, just the end of the skein. Let's see if I can find it. But I'm like partway through the lace pattern for this part, and this was done in Red Heart Stardust, that yarn that I just had a whole bunch of those that were like that I kind of inherited, and I've used them for a bunch of socks because they're super wash. They seem to be a pretty reasonable like sock yarn. They're sparkly, which is not something I'd pick for myself, but I like them. It's a pretty good sock yarn for free. Kind of have this like variegated look, but they're still pretty predominantly one color. Yeah, they're fun. But I'm keeping this one. It was the Vervain sock again from 52 Weeks of Socks. Big fan of this one. I think the next sock I knit from that, I can't remember what it's called, but I think I'm going to knit a colorwork sock. I think I'm going to use some of the purple that I have with the white that I used for the Kuntum sock. It's like cream, but I think that would be fun because I have a bunch left of that cream color, and still I know I'll have a decent amount of this left, and I think that would be fun. I haven't really knit something super colorwork. I want to knit a colorwork sweater too, but I'd like to start with this sock. That's my next thought for my next sock cast on when I finish this one. Next cast on, or next work in progress. So I got I got this yarn. This was an acquisition. It's an acrylic sock yarn that's kind of stretchy. I got it for like $1.25. As you can see, not a very big skein. But I was like, if I work toe up, I can I really like the colors. It's like this purple and pink and like green and yellow. And I was like, if I work bottom up, I can make myself a little pair of like these simple socks. So I found a basic sock pattern that I mostly followed that was toe up. And here's one. But here's the problem, is I started to get kind of nervous about how much I had left. I don't know. I think I weighed the yarn wrong. Basically, I didn't make enough of an ankle. So they fit super duper small. So I need to go back and redo that. But I just haven't gotten to it because I haven't felt like it, because the colors were really fun. But I don't know. I think it'll be a fine sock when it's done. I just haven't felt like going back and fixing it and like undoing my bind off. But I think the striping and the colors are super pretty. And this one doesn't even get to the bright pink. So I think there's actually a lot of this left. I just got really nervous. Cause like, it's pretty hefty. It's a pretty hefty guy. Didn't use a lot for this. Didn't even get through all the colors. Like I've got like the solid part of pink, variegated, solid part of yellow, variegated, solid part of like the bluish purple, variegated. And then I just started the solid green and I only have a teeny bit of that dark pink. So I think I had plenty for the second sock and to make this one a little bigger, but I'll get to it at some point. Just haven't really been in the mood. Cast on that other sock because I wanted to do a 52 weeks of sock. And then really I just got distracted by the Ingrid Sweater. Yeah, so there's that. The next work in progress you've seen before. I honestly can't remember what state it was in at that point, but it's the Oslo Sweater. Woo. Sleeves are done, neck is done, needs to be, I think I had finished the neck before, but I need to sew it in. The body I'm still working on, got like this much done. It's not a whole lot, but once again, been working on the Ingrid Sweater, picking away at this when I'm in the mood for some stockinette. Still a big fan, still super fuzzy. Definitely think I'm gonna have enough yarn for this now. This is what's left of the drops that I've got working on now. This is left over from one of the sleeves. And then I think I have another full skein of the mohair. So I think I'm gonna be totally fine. I have plenty of the cashmere. My thought was that if I have enough of the cashmere left, I might make a Sophie sweater. Not Sophie sweater, why did I say Sophie sweater? Sophie's scarf. I think that'd be super cute. Cashmere, I might have to hold it double because it's kind of like a sport weight yarn. But yeah, this guy is so fuzzy and so soft and literally so bougie free. Fancy. Now there's more sounds outside. Sorry about that again. Now I have buried here. Yeah, so that I think was all my works in progress at the moment in finished objects. I don't really have any works in progress, just those two socks and the sweater, because I just kind of finished up a bunch of things. Been figuring out what I'm going to work on. So acquisitions were this yarn, this yarn, this yarn, and this yarn. Actually, and one more thing technically. So it's called Cozy Toes. This was the other one I bought. I paid $1.25 for this. This one is Balloon Brigade. What color was the other one? I know it's in here. The label. Maybe it's not. It was called like Springtime something, I believe. But this one is like red and blue. There's like some browns and yellows in there. I'm trying to show you. Pretty cute. Yay, construction sound. But again, paid $1.25. I was like, they kind of sort of go together. So if I don't have enough yarn for that, I'll just make two different socks and they'll be kind of similar. But yeah, those were all my regular acquisitions for the most part. Next one is this. This is a wool sweater that I bought and I just finished washing and I'm pulling apart for yarn. It's got a bunch of holes in it. Let me find them. There's one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Yeah, lots of holes. It's an older sweater, all wool. Probably a little, there's a bunch more. Just like maybe kind of moth-eaten or something, but probably worth it to unravel. I've been working on pulling apart that day. That's been what I've been working on. So the last thing is not directly yarn fiber related, but it is indirectly yarn fiber related. I've bookbinded before, and it's really fun in my favorite notebook that I usually use. It looks like crap. It's right here. It's kind of silly looking, but I did bind it myself a long time ago. And I just been thinking about that a lot. So the other day, what I had like, it kind of came into my head, and then I just did it. I just kind of like tunnel visioned into it. I made these PDFs for organizing your like what you're working on, like a pattern journal page, and then I like yarn stash pages, and I put them up as PDFs for sale, just because I had made them, threw them up there. I was like, maybe someone else will enjoy them. I think I put them together, and it's like $2 for both of them. But then I was like, you know, it'd be super fun if I had these printed and I bound them into a book. So what did I do? Well, first I bound a test book. Oh, this kind of has crap on the back. It's just white paper. This is my test book. The thread is still hanging out. But I was doing French link binding. Super fun. I got my pages. The ones, they didn't send me enough and they were all crooked, but I was like, I'll make myself one and I'll take all the crooked pages. Because see, it's like cut off on this side. But so we have pattern journal pages, center is notes and ideas, end is my yarn stash. And the yarn stash pages have 2 entries per side. So even though it's the same number of pages as the pattern journal, there's twice as many slots because the pattern journal is just 1 per page. Pattern journal gives you a place for start date, end date, pattern name, yarn used, yardage, needles used, gauge notes, size, notes, stars, five stars you can check off for difficulty and enjoyment, and then a notes section for modifications. Yarn stash has a spot for date added, date used, yarn name, brand, colorway, weight, yardage, quantity, fiber content, project ideas, and then ease of use and enjoyment with stars. I just felt like it was a really fun way to organize what you have and what you're doing. And then I have they sent me the pages. They weren't crooked or anything, but they didn't resend me the ideas one. So I just bound them with blank pages in the middle because honestly, I kind of like that better. I like the freedom of a blank white page. No, all my notebook is all just blank white pages. It's generally what I prefer because there's no... I asked on my Instagram what people liked, hardcover or soft cover. People said soft cover for the most part. It was kind of split, but I like soft cover too for this kind of thing. It's a cardstock. I am gonna get, I have to get the right kind of glue to make this one piece instead of folded, because with this type of binding, it's easier to, long story short, it'll be 1 page, not 2 pages when this is totally finished. Again, my pattern journal, these pages look way nicer because they're correct. White pages in the middle, and then yarn stash at the end. I love how these turned out. I'm so happy with it. Look at that binding, so pretty. French link, and that also means that they like lie flat like that, if you can see that. So it like, it's not flopping back and forth if you have it open. I'm really happy with these. The pages I designed were in color, but it was, unless I was going to order like hundreds of pages all at once, it was just too expensive to have them printed in color right away. But I think I'm going to put these up in some kind of pre-order or made order on my Ko-fi, however you say it, and Etsy, with options for color thread, color page, and then I think I'm going to offer an option with yarn stash and pattern journal and just pattern journal or yarn stash or something like that. Because the one thing is, my thought was that if you work a lot of patterns, or if you work through things quickly but are kind of a yarn collector, you might fill up the yarn stash pages a lot more quickly, or the other way around. And I want people to have the option because, I don't know, I was just thinking it would be nice to either have it all in one place, or if you just wanted one or the other, to do that. Let me think how many pages are in this. We've got, what is it? So this, there's one on each page of this. I did 4, 8, 24. I think there's something like 48 pattern journal pages, and that makes like 80 something stash. And then there's like 20 white pages, I believe. And here's a yellow one I made too. Yeah. I'll figure out the pricing, but it's probably going to be around somewhere around $35–40 because, sorry for the banging, because of having to get the pages printed. If I get a few orders, I'll have more printed, bind them up. Super fun, really enjoy it. I think like if you're working on something nice and handmade, it's sort of nice to put your stuff about it into something nice and handmade. I feel like people who are knitting and crocheting are the kind of people that appreciate that sort of thing, and it's nice to have it in Ravelry and stuff, but it's nice to have it somewhere physical too that you can see. And I think a lot of people keep journals of some kind, but it's nice to have something that's specifically formatted for what you're doing. So yeah, and if this is something that people like, I'll probably make them a little fancier because I'll be able to get some more tools and stuff, but I think this is a fun little side project for me, and I hope you enjoy it. It's nice to have a little book. It brings me a lot of joy. But thank you so much for joining me. I think that's all I have to share today. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it and making these things. And I hope you'll join me again next month and that I will be on time. But thank you.